إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا مزيدا طيبا مباركا. أما بعد، حياكم الله أحبتي في الله ومرحبا بكم في درسكم الأسبوعي في تفسير تيسير الكريم الرحمن في تفسير كلام المنان الشيخ عبد الرحمن بن ناصر السعدي عليه رحمة الله تعالى. And in our last session, which was last week, we had stopped at one of the most profound ayat pertaining to the nature of the Muslim, the nature of Islam, the nature of propagation of Islam, da'wah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all related matters. And I had wanted to elaborate on this ayah, but I decided to wait and postpone it till today because it requires quite an elaboration. So we have with us online and also physically present on the premise Mussab, who is expected to recite ayah 33 onwards. Actually, let me see. It's going to be ayah 33. Yeah, do ayah 33 to 35, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم. And who is better in speech than one who invites to Allah and does righteousness and says, Indeed, I am of the Muslims. And not equal are the good deed and the bad. Repel evil by that deed which is better, and thereupon the one whom between you and him is enmity will become as though he was a devoted friend. But none is granted it except those who are patient, and none is granted it except one having a great portion of good.
All right. The Shaykh alayhi rahmatullah says, هذا استفهام بمعنى النفي المتقرر. This is an interrogative denoting the meaning of an established negation. This is an interrogative denoting the establishment of a negation. أي لا أحد أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله. Meaning there isn't anyone who is better in speech. The Shaykh said أي كلاما وطريقة وحالا. May Allah forgive us. Meaning in speech, in method, and in state. ممن دعا إلى الله, then one who invites to Allah. بتعليم الجاهلين, by educating the ignorant. ووعظ الغافلين والمعرضين, and by admonishing the heedless and the objectors. معرضين are those who do i'rad. I'rad is turning away from something, turning away from it, being nonchalant, disdaining a particular matter. ومجادلة المبطلين, and also arguing, engaging in argument with the falsifiers. So we learn from the Shaykh rahimahullah that what is involved in da'wah to Allah is educating ignorant people, admonishing heedless people or people that are turning away from the religion, and also arguing and refuting the liars, falsifiers, deniers, objectors, innovators, and so on and so forth. So that also falls under da'wah. Of course, there's a scope for each. بالأمر بعبادة الله بجميع أنواعها. Now, what is exactly that you're going to do while inviting people to Allah? You're going to command them. You're going to command them of the worship of Allah in all its various types. والحث عليها, and pushing them and encouraging them and exciting them about it. وتحسينها مهما أمكن, and beautifying it to the best of your ability as much as possible. والزجر عما نهى الله عنه, and also scolding, forbidding, stopping and preventing anything that Allah had forbidden. وتقبيحه بكل طريق يوجب تركه, and uglifying it in every way that necessitates its abandonment. خصوصا من هذه الدعوة إلى أصل دين الإسلام وتحسينه, and specifically is the invitation to the أصل دين الإسلام, to the foundation of the religion of Islam, and also beautifying this for the people. ومجادلة أعدائه بالتي هي أحسن, and arguing and debating with its enemies in that which is best. والنهي عما يضاده من الكفر والشرك, and prohibiting and preventing what opposes that of disbelief and polytheism. والأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر, and enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil. ومن الدعوة إلى الله تحبيبه إلى عباده. Part of calling people to Allah is making Allah beloved to his slaves. Promoting the idea of the people loving Allah, making Allah lovable to them by mentioning the things that you need to mention regarding that. The Shaykh said, بذكر تفاصيل نعمه وسعة جوده وكمال رحمته, by highlighting in detail the details of his bounty, by highlighting the details of Allah's bounties upon us, the vastness of his generosity, the perfection of his mercy. وذكر أوصاف كماله ونعوت جلاله, and by highlighting and mentioning the perfect attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all of the names that are used to exalt him subhanahu wa ta'ala. تمام. ومن الدعوة إلى الله الترغيب في اقتباس العلم والهدى من كتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And part of calling to Allah is the encouragement of acquiring the knowledge and the guidance from the book of Allah and from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning, the source of your da'wah is قال Allah وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Not قالت Wikipedia وقال I don't know, whoever. Not citing statistics and numbers and references and kuffar. That might be a certain supplement. Some studies could be supplemented with statistical information from the internet, maybe a reference or a quotation of a disbeliever acknowledging that something that Islam already established. But fundamentally, you're calling people by mentioning what Allah said and what the Prophet ﷺ said. Sadly, a lot of people involved in da'wah do not follow this methodology. For example, a lot of these people that call to Islam, especially Christians, they know more of the Bible than they know of the Quran. They're more familiar with the Christian dogmatic Trinitarian belief than they are familiar with the Tawheed of Allah. They have more references from the Bible memorized than they have references from the Quran memorized. And the same can be said about others. Any type of entity you give da'wah to, fundamentally, you should be able to cite the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you could add some appetizers or some desserts from among other resources before and after. But the main course has to be the Quran and the Sunnah. Today, we find that some people, they give an entire lecture where the entire lecture will barely have an ayah or a hadith. Not even sometimes an ayah or a hadith. 4-hour debates, 5-hour debates, no mention of Qala Allah wa Qala Rasulullah alayhi salam. It's sad, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful. You have to understand the concept of da'wah from the people of knowledge. والحث على ذلك بكل طريق موصل إليه, and encourage the people to achieve that with every method that will help them reach there, meaning the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. ومن ذلك الحث على مكارم الأخلاق, and included in that is encouraging people to have the noble traits and noble character, noble manners. والإحسان إلى عموم الخلق, and being good and kind to the generality of the creation. ومقابلة المسيء بالإحسان, ومقابلة المسيء بالإحسان, and to counter the evildoer with goodness. يعني don't retaliate with retribution. Of course, there's context for that. Fundamentally, ادفع بالتي هي أحسن, but there are times where you are allowed to go tit for tat, as I've mentioned in the past, and as I will mention eventually, inshallah, later on with another lecture. والأمر بصلة الأرحام وبر الوالدين, and also in commanding the keeping of the kinship ties and the dutifulness to the parents. ومن ذلك الوعظ لعموم الناس في أوقات المواسم والعوارض والمصائب بما يناسب ذلك الحال. And also included in that is the admonishment, the general admonishment of the people during the various seasons or the occasions or the calamities, depending on the situation. يعني if there's some sort of earthquake, then you remind the people of maybe the stories from the Quran, what happened to the nations before us, and that could be a punishment from Allah, and that we have to return in repentance to Allah. So you use current contemporary issues and events to admonish the people and bring them back to the revelation. إلى غير ذلك مما لا تنحصر أفراده بما يشمله الدعوة إلى الخير كله والترهيب من جميع الشر. And other than that, which we cannot really enumerate right now, which includes everything that falls under calling to goodness, all of it, and basically scaring the people, warning them against all types of evil. ثم قال تعالى وعمل صالحا, and he does righteousness. أي مع دعوته الخلق إلى الله بادر هو بنفسه إلى امتثال أمر الله بالعمل الصالح الذي يرضي ربه. Meaning, while inviting the creation to Allah, that person himself takes the leadership or the initiative to engage and to fulfill the command of Allah by doing righteous deeds that please his Lord. وقال إنني من المسلمين, and he said, I am of the Muslim, أي المنقادين لأمره. And here I wanted to highlight a particular point that some people find confusing. And that is making a distinction, between a person who tells the people to do good while he purposely is not engaged or is not interested in good. And this is blameworthy. This is blameworthy as per the clear evidences in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal says, كَبُرَ مَقْتًا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَن تَقُولُوا مَا لَا تَفْعَلُونَ. It is highly detestable to Allah that you say that which you don't do. And Allah says, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Do you command people to do good? Do you enjoin goodness upon people? وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ, and then you forget your own selves. While you are reciting the scripture, do you not reason? Some people understand from these two ayat that if you are involved in a particular sin, or if you are abandoning a particular good, then you are no longer allowed to enjoin that good and forbid that evil. And that is a misunderstanding of this principle in Islam. The scholars say what is being criticized here is the person that is able to engage in good, but he's completely careless and negligent about it. Yes, he's telling everybody else to do it while he can do it and is doing nothing about it. And the person who's telling the people to stop certain evils while he is actively and purposely and intentionally and carelessly engaged in it on regular basis. That is what is not allowed. As for a person that is falling short in not doing as much good as he should, or falling short in falling into a sin that he wants to stay away from, this does not mean that now he commits another crime of not enjoining the good and forbidding the evil because of his own shortcoming. Because now he has committed two crimes: the crime of him not doing the good that he's supposed to, and or committing the sin that he should stay away from, and the sin of not enjoining the good and forbidding the evil when the opportunity arises. Because some people made that point. For example, and I will give you an example. Let's say a caller to Islam is a good brother and righteous as much as he can and doing everything that he could. One day he was on a trip, and he went somewhere, and then he hung out with some people, and somehow some people offered him alcohol, and at the moment of weakness he decided to consume alcohol, and he drank some alcohol. All right, and this man felt horrible afterwards. He regretted, he repented to Allah. It's done. According to those people that don't understand Islam, next time this person is giving a lecture and someone asks him about alcohol, he is not allowed, and he cannot enjoin the good and forbid the evil, because he was guilty of it once or even twice. And therefore, if he sees another person drinking alcohol, he will remain quiet, because according to them, he drank alcohol before. So he sees another Muslim drinking alcohol, he doesn't say a word, which in effect is exposing himself. He's in effect exposing himself, because the people are going to wonder, why aren't you telling the people not to drink alcohol? Oh, well, honestly, they're like, oh, okay, so you've done it yourself, and that's why you don't want to stop him. The truth is, you could still tell the people, hey, it's haram to drink alcohol. It is not allowed, even if he had done it at some point in time out of weakness. You understand? What he's not allowed to do is, all day the dude is getting drunk, and then all day he's telling the people, hey, alcohol is haram. Then we say, okay, those two ayat we cited earlier are applicable to you, because now you're mocking the deen of Allah, you're playing with the deen of Allah, and you're not serious about any of this. You are telling the people to do good while you're being negligent yourself, and are you not reasoning whatsoever? You understand? So if someone had fallen into some sort of sin, this does not stop them and should not prevent them from continuing to forbid other people from that sin, because it's an obligation to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. And therefore, there's no conflation between those two separate subject matters. I hope it's clear, and I hope all of you can act accordingly. So when someone says, oh yeah, this person is criticizing these other people for bringing women onto their YouTube channel or their dawa channel, but he had a video, which was part of his job. So how are you telling the people not to, and why are you criticizing them when you're engaging in it yourself? That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's not like my whole channel is me and women, and then I'm telling the other channels, hey, you can't have women on your channel. This was an incident related to work, nothing to be happy about, da-da-da-da-da. That doesn't mean that now I'm no longer going to be able to tell the people, wallahi, free mixing is haram. Why? Wallah, once I had an event, a situation where I free mixed with some women, so from now on I have to keep my mouth shut, otherwise I'm a hypocrite. You don't understand Islam. If this is how you look at it, that is a terrible misunderstanding of Islam. So please set the record straight. Bismillah. Allah al-Musta'an. نعم. وقال إنني من المسلمين, he said, I am of the Muslims, أي المنقادين لأمره السالكين في طريقه, meaning I am those who are compliant to his command, traveling upon his path. وهذه المرتبة تمامها للصديقين الذين عملوا على تكميل أنفسهم وتكميل غيرهم وحصلت لهم الوراثة التامة من الرسل. And this level is for the Siddiqeen, those who strove to perfect themselves or to better themselves and to better those around them. And so they receive the highest level of inheritance from the messengers, the perfect inheritance from the messengers. كما أن من أشر الناس قولا من كان من دعاة الضلال السالكين لسبله. Just like the worst and the most evil of people, This is the Shaykh rahimahullah speaking. Don't get mad at Abu Mussab. The most evil of people in speech are the callers to misguidance, those who are upon the path of misguidance. The most evil of people in statement, the most evil of people in statement are the callers to innovation and the callers to deviance. وبين هاتين المرتبتين المتباينتين التي ارتفعت إحداهما إلى أعلى عليين ونزلت إلى أخرى أسفل سافلين مراتب لا يعلمها إلا الله. And between those two extremely opposing levels, one which has risen to the highest of the highest and one which has been sent to the lowest of the lowly, are many levels that none knows all of them but Allah. وَكُلُّهَا مَعْمُورَةٌ بِالْخَلْقِ, and all of them are populated with the creation of Allah. All of these levels have many among the creation of Allah populating it. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِمَّا عَمِلُوا, and for each there will be many levels based on what they have done. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ, and your Lord is never ever unknowing of what they used to do. Then Ayat 34 and 35, يقول تعالى ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة, and not equal are the good deed and the bad deed. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن. The Shaykh said أي لا يستوي فعل الحسنات والطاعات لأجل رضا الله تعالى ولا فعل السيئات والمعاصي التي تسخطه ولا ترضيه. Meaning they are not equal, the doing of good deeds and obedience in order to attain the pleasure of Allah, and they're not equal to the doing of sayyat and ma'asi, evil deed and wickedness that bring about Allah's wrath and does not please Him. ولا يستوي الإحسان إلى الخلق ولا الإساءة إليهم. And it is not equal being good to the people, good to the creation, or being evil to them. لا في ذاتها ولا في وصفها ولا في جزائها. Neither in its essence, nor in its description, nor in its recompense. They're not equal at those three levels. In itself, the ihsan to the people versus being evil to the people, they're not equal in their concept, in their essence. They're not equal in how you describe them, and they're not equal in terms of their ramifications. As Allah said, هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان, is the compensation for excellence anything but excellence? ثم أمر بإحسان خاص له موقع كبير. Then Allah commanded a very particular type of excellence that has a huge impact. وهو الإحسان إلى من أساء إليك. الله المستعان. And it is being excellent and good to the one who has been mean or the one who has wronged you, the one who has been evil to you. فقال ادفع بالتي هي أحسن. Repel evil by that which is better. أي فإذا أساء إليك مسيء من الخلق. Meaning, if any of the creation did you bad, did you wrong, was wrong to you, was evil to you, خصوصا من له حق كبير عليك, especially if that person has a major right over you, كالأقارب والأصحاب ونحوهم, such as the relatives and your companions and the likes. إساءة بالقول أو بالفعل, and he was mean to you either in statement or in action. فقابله بالإحسان إليه. Subhanallah. So compensate him, retaliate by being good to him. فإن قطعك فصله. If he severs you, connect. If he severs you, connect. وَإِنْ ظَلَمَكْ فَاعْفُ عَنْهُ. And if he wrongs you, pardon him. وَإِنْ تَكَلَّمَ فِيكَ غَائِبًا أَوْ حَاضِرًا فَلَا تُقَابِلْهُ. And if he speaks ill of you, whether in your absence or in your presence, do not retaliate with the same. Do not reciprocate. بَلْ اعْفُ عَنْهُ وَعَامِلْهُ بِالْقَوْلِ اللَّيِّنِ. Rather, pardon him and treat him with kind words. Wallahi, it takes a lot of patience. May Allah help us. وَإِنْ هَجَرَكَ وَتَرَكَ خِطَابَكَ فَطَيِّبْ لَهُ الْكَلَامُ وَابْذُلْ لَهُ السَّلَامُ. And if he boycotts you and he abandons speaking to you, then beautify your speech to him and exert yourself to give him salam. فإذا قابلت الإساءة بالإحسان. So if you compensate the evil with excellence, حصل فائدة عظيمة. You will attain a great benefit. فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. The one whom between you and him is enmity will become as though he was a devoted friend. أي كأنه قريب شفيق. It's as though he is a compassionate relative who's very near to you, very close to you. So it takes a lot of guts, a lot of patience, a lot of discipline to be able to deal with those individuals in this manner. And as the Sheikh saying, the closer these people are to you, then the more expected it is of you to do that. Please do not conflate this with refutations and speaking about the people of bid'ah and the people of deviance and the people of desires. This is not in reference to it. There are areas, there are times and occasions where this will also apply to that. There are areas and occasions where even if it's a person of bid'ah, calling to bid'ah, people of desires, treating them a certain way will bring them back to the deen, then this is applicable 100%. But this is fundamentally, as the Sheikh is explaining, it's people in your circle, people in your people in your surrounding, people within your family, within your society, within your, you know what I'm saying, the people that you connect with and you see on regular basis. Those are the ones where if you get violated in this particular way, then it is best that you retaliate or you compensate the evil with good. Tamam? So you repel the evil with good. وما يلقاها أي وما يوفق لهذه الخصلة الحميدة لهذه الخصلة الحميدة, and none will attain it or will be granted, meaning none will be given the success to acquire this praiseworthy trait, إلا الذين صبروا, except those who are patient. صبروا نفوسهم على ما تكرهه. They made themselves patient against the things that themselves against what they desire. وأجبروها على ما يحبه الله, and they forced themselves to comply with what Allah Azza wa Jal loves. فإن النفوس مجبولة على مقابلة المسيء بإساءته, because the souls are programmed, they are programmed to repel or to compensate the evil with evil like it. وعدم العفو عنه, and not pardoning that person. فكيف بالإحسان? So what about excellence? فإذا صبر الإنسان نفسه وامتثل أمر ربه, if a person exerts himself to be patient and he complies with the command of his Lord, وعرف جزيل الثواب, and he got to know the vastness of the reward, the greatness of the reward, وعلم أن مقابلته للمسيء بجنس عمله لا يفيده شيئا, and he got to understand and internalize that him retaliating or compensating the evildoer with evil like it is not going to benefit him in anything. ولا يزيد العداوة إلا شدة, and it only increases the enmity in severity. وإن إحسانه إليه ليس بواضع قدره, and you being good to that person doesn't really humiliate you or belittle your status. بل من تواضع لله رفعه, rather whoever humiliates and humbles himself before Allah, Allah will elevate that person and Allah will raise that person. هان عليه الأمر وفعل ذلك متلذذا مستحليا له, then it becomes easy for that person to engage in that, and he will do it out of pleasure, enjoying it. Yani he finds pleasure in returning the evil of the people with good. May Allah Azza wa Jal enable us and help us improve our character and our manners so that we embody those wonderful teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his book. And we ultimately acknowledge and admit that we fall short. I personally acknowledge and I admit that I fall short in these areas. This is not my point of strength. It is not my point of يعني, it's not something that I'm necessarily proud of or happy about. It's something that I strive a lot to improve. But if you had known my past and my pre-Islamic lifestyle and my pre-Islamic days and my upbringing, you would understand how much of transition I've made. I'm still far from what I'm supposed to be. I'm still beneath other callers to Islam, especially those that are, I'm talking about callers to Islam among the Sunnis and the Salafis. I am beneath and lesser than all of them combined. So I acknowledge and I know, but also to hopefully, to my credit, if Allah accepts what I've come from, and in terms of where I'm at now, is not easy, and it takes a lot more than I'm maybe putting out for me to even get better. But it's my lifetime mission. It is my lifetime mission to improve my manners to the best of my ability, and with Allah Azza wa Jal lies success. And I know I've been called out for that many times. Alhamdulillah, I've been called out by other du'at. I've been called out by enemies of Islam. I've been called out by some very sincere followers of the channel. And I appreciate being called out, because when a person is not acting per the teachings of Islam, they need to be called out. When you're not applying Islam, you need to be told, brother, you're not applying Islam, so that there's an improvement. So the people, if you truly care for someone, you won't just turn a blind eye, say, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Of course, how you call it out is the point of contention. Are you being decent? Are you respectful? Are you sincere? Or are you criticizing my bad manners with worse manners, which is what I find to be the most amazing. I find it amazing that a lot of people call out my bad manners by being 10 times worse than me. So if you have a problem with my manners, would you like to apply your own advice, barakallah feek, and improve maybe yours a little bit, just a little bit? How about not using foul language that they use in the streets? How about we start with that? How about you try to use some kind words, say something positive before you lash out and say something mean? No, unfortunately, a lot of people that are calling out the bad manners of the du'at are themselves guilty of the worst manners you could see, that to the point that you doubt these people are Muslim in the first place, right? But they are decent people. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless them. So with Allah lies success. The Shaykh said, in regards to the statement of Allah, وَمَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍ عَظِيمٍ, and none is granted except one having a great portion of good, لِكَوْنِهَا مِنْ خِصَالِ خَوَاصِ الْخَلْقِ, because this is from the characteristics of the most elite of the creation. التي ينال بها العبد الرفعة في الدنيا والآخرة, due to which a slave can attain the loftiness both in this world and in the life to come. التي هي من أكبر خصال مكارم الأخلاق, which is among the greatest traits of having good character and good manners. طيب يا مصعب, read آيات 36 to 39, بارك الله فيك.
وَإِمَّا يَنزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ لَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ وَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُنَّ إِن كُنتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. فَإِنِ اسْتَكْبَرُوا فَالَّذِينَ عِندَ رَبِّكَ يُسَبِّحُونَ لَهُ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَهُمْ لَا يَسْأَمُونَ. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنَّكَ تَرَى الْأَرْضَ خَاشِعَةً فَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهَا الْمَاءَ اهْتَزَّتْ وَرَبَتْ. إِنَّ الَّذِي أَحْيَاهَا لَمُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى إِنَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. And if there comes to you from Satan an evil suggestion, then seek refuge in Allah. Indeed, he is the hearing, the knowing. And of his signs are the night and day and the sun and moon. Do not prostrate to the sun or the moon, but prostrate to Allah who created them, if it should be Him that you worship. But they are arrogant than those who are near your Lord, i.e. the angels, exalt Him by night and by day, and they do not become weary. And of His signs is that you see the earth stilled, but when we send down upon it rain, it quivers and grows. Indeed, He who has given it life is the giver of life to the dead. Indeed, He is over all things competent.
All right. لما ذكر تعالى ما يقابل به العدو من الإنس, after Allah mentioned how you retaliate to your enemy from among the humans, وهو مقابلة إساءته بالإحسان, and that is to compensate his evil with good. ذكر ما يدفع به العدو الجني. Allah tells us what is it that is to be used, what is it that must be used to repel your enemy from among the jinn. وهو الاستعاذة بالله والاحتماء من شره, and that is to seek refuge with Allah. It is to seek refuge with Allah and to seek His protection from the evil of the jinn. فقال وإما ينزغنك من الشيطان نزغ, أي وقت من الأوقات أحسست بشيء من نزغات الشيطان. At any point in time when you feel those kind of suggestions or those this irritation that you get from the shaitan, أي من وساوسه, such as his whispers, وتزيينه للشر, or his beautification of evil, وتكسيله عن الخير, or trying to make you lazy in terms of doing good, وإصابة ببعض الذنوب, or he forces you, or not forces you, he tricks you into committing certain sins, وإطاعة له ببعض ما يأمر به, or you just obeying him in some of the things that he commands. When any of these happen, فاستعذ بالله, then seek refuge with Allah. أي اسأله مفتقرا إليه أن يعيذك ويعصمك منه. So meaning ask Allah, being in the state of ultimate need, that He protects you from him. إنه هو السميع العليم, indeed He is the hearing, the knowing. فإنه يسمع قولك وتضرعك. Allah Azza wa Jal hears your statement and your beseeching. ويعلم حالك واضطرارك إلى عصمته وحمايته. And Allah knows your condition and your need for His protection and His preservation. ثم ذكر تعالى أن من آياته, that Allah mentioned that among His ayat, among His signs, الدالة على كمال قدرته ونفوذ مشيئته وسعة سلطانه ورحمته بعباده, that indicate the perfection of Allah's ability and the vast, or the authority of His will and the vastness of His dominion and His mercy to His slaves. وأنه الله وحده لا شريك له, and that He is Allah, the one who has no partner with Him. الليل والنهار. What is the sign of all of that? Is the night and the day. هذا بمنفعة ضيائه وتصرف العباد فيه. This one, i.e. the nahar, with the benefit of its light and how the slaves go about their business during that time. وهذا بمنفعة ظلمه وسكون الخلق فيه. And the other one, the benefit of its darkness and the tranquility and the restfulness that the creation enjoy during the time of the evening or the night. And also والشمس والقمر, the sun and the moon, اللذان لا تستقيم معايش العباد ولا أبدانهم ولا أبدان حيواناتهم إلا بهما. The ones whom without the lives of the slaves and their bodies and even the bodies of the animals can never be upright and can never be rectified except with them, meaning except the sun and the moon. Because obviously with those two, sun, the whole process of the growth of vegetation and, us not dying from freezing and all that is because of the sun, that Allah Azza wa Jal made it what it is. سراجا منيرا. نعم. وبهما من المصالح ما لا يحصى عدده. And in both of them, there are so many benefits which cannot be even enumerated. لا تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر. Do not prostrate to the sun or to the moon. فإنهما مدبران مسخران مخلوقان. Their affairs are arranged. They are subdued, created beings. They are created by Allah. They have no control on their own. وَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُنْ. But prostrate to Allah who created them. أي اعبدوه وحده. اعبدوه عفوا. أي اعبدوه وحده. Worship him alone. لأنه الخالق العظيم. Because he is the great creator. ودعوا عبادة ما سواه من المخلوقات. And abandon the worship of other than him from among the creation. وإن كبر جرمه وكثرت مصالحه فإن ذلك ليس منه. Even if its body is great in size, like if some of the planets or some of the sun or the moon, and even if its benefits are tremendous, it is not because of that entity itself. وإنما هو من خالقه تبارك وتعالى. Rather, whatever good you are receiving from the planets and from the sun and from the moon or from the heavens and the earth, all of this is actually coming from Allah. It's their creator. Their creator. The exalted in might. إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. If it should be him that you worship. فخصوه بالعبادة وإخلاص الدين له. So then specify him in your worship and in being sincere in your religion to him. فإن استكبروا عن عبادة الله تعالى. If they are too arrogant to worship Allah the exalted in might. ولم ينقادوا له. And they did not comply or submit. فإنهم لن يضروا الله شيئا. They will not harm Allah in anything. والله غني عنهم. And Allah is self-sufficient regarding them. وله عباد مكرمون. Allah has noble slaves. لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. They don't disobey Allah concerning what He commands them, and they do whatever they're told. ولهذا قال, that's what Allah said, فالذين عند ربك يعني الملائكة المقربين. Those who are with your Lord, those who are with your Lord or near your Lord, meaning the noble angels. The Shaykh said the close angels to Allah. يسبحون له بالليل والنهار وهم لا يسأمون. They exalt him by night and day, and they do not become weary. They do not become weary. أي لا يملون من عبادته. They don't become tired. They don't get tired or bored of his worship. لقوتهم وشدة الداعي القوي منهم إلى ذلك. Because of their strength and because of that strong willingness and desire they have for worshiping him. And lastly, ومن آياته الدالة على كمال قدرته وانفراده بالملك والتدبير والوحدانية. From among the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that indicate also the perfection of his ability and him being single-handedly responsible in terms of dominion, arranging the affairs and oneness. أنك ترى الأرض خاشعة. That you see the earth stilled. أي لا نبات فيها, meaning there's no vegetation in it. فإذا أنزلنا عليها الماء. So when we send down the rain upon it, اهتزت أي تحركت بالنبات. It starts moving around and it quivers with vegetation. وربت ثم أنبتت من كل زوج بهيج. And then it will present and produce every type of pleasurable and pleasing to the eye vegetation and flowers and fruits and vegetables or what have you. فحي بها العباد والبلاد. So as a result of that, both the slaves and the land basically are given life due to that. إن الذي أحياها بعد موتها وهمودها. The one who gave it life indeed after its death, the giver of life after its death, لمحيي الموتى, will surely give life to the dead. من قبورهم إلى يوم بعثهم ونشورهم. He will give them life from their death, meaning from their graves, to the day of their resurrection and gathering. إنه على كل شيء قدير. Verily, he is over all things competent. فكما لم تعجز قدرته على إحياء الأرض بعد موتها لا تعجز عن إحياء الموتى. Just like Allah's ability did not prevent him from giving life to the earth after its death, then also Allah will not be incapable of giving life to the dead, meaning on Yawm al-Qiyamah when everybody is resurrected from the grave. And with this, we conclude today's dars. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, perfect. Exactly at 1:45, so 45 minutes sharp. We will have a short Q&A today, inshallah, because I have a commitment outside and I have to run and handle it. So let's get right into it, inshallah. Where are we? Yalla. Wa alaikum salam. How to seek knowledge? Well, you seek knowledge by finding a sheikh, preferably finding a sheikh in your physical locality that you could physically visit, provided that he is a scholar of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. That's ideal. If not, you find an institute, an Islamic institute that is from the Salafi institutes, from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah institutes, and you join them. You attend the classes and you do your best. Barakallah feek. Nah. That's a given, anyways. Are we allowed to line the beard on the cheeks? No, you're not. Do you happen to know the evidence of the different opinions? Since I think there's an ikhtilaf. I've spoken about this topic, ya Abdullah, in the lecture. Where is this wedding heading? Oops, in the lecture, let it grow with a natural flow. Please watch the lecture. Let it grow with a natural flow. يلا 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 يا جماعة بسرعة الله يرضى عليكم. Walaikum salam. Regarding keeping the kinship ties, what do you do with a relative that stole something expensive from you and not say sorry? I can't get myself to forgive them. May Allah forgive me. Yeah, well, you don't have to forgive them. You don't have to forgive them, but don't sever the kinship ties. You don't have to forgive them. You can get your right from them on Yawm al-Qiyamah before Allah. You have the right to be retributed for their violation, but do not sever the kinship ties in the world because of that. Naam. Abu Mussab, I have a question. How there is a famous Lebanese lady named Layla Abdul Latif, and she always predicts when something like assassination or earthquake will happen. She is right. How possible? She's not right. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we learn from Islam that كذب المنجمون ولو صدقوا, that the fortune tellers and the future tellers have lied, even if they wind up saying the truth by mistake. And we know that the jinn يسترقون السمع, they overhear, they try to overhear the conversation that happens among the malaika, and then they escape to the earth to deliver it to the people that they work with. And Allah Azza wa Jal sends upon them shihab, the fireball that chases them. Sometimes it catches them before they deliver the information, and sometimes they deliver the information before it catches them. So when they deliver this information to someone, this person will mix one piece of information that is true with 99 other lies, and then they will come out to the world. And so when it coincides that this one thing that they predicted happens to come to materialize, that people say, oh wow, oh my God, they know the future. Nobody knows the future except Allah. قُلْ لَا يَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبَ فِي السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Say, no one knows the unseen in the heavens and earth except Allah. No, they're not fully blocked. They used to listen freely. Now they've been blocked, but every now and then some of them escape. So aslan, you're not allowed to listen. I don't even know why you know this Layla lady. You're not allowed to listen to these people, ya Mahdawi. You are not allowed to listen to these people at all. It's haram for you to listen to them, and if you believe them, you've disbelieved in Allah and the Messenger alayhi salatu salam. You leave Islam by believing in the statements of the fortune tellers and the psychic readers and those people. You are not allowed to listen to them. So for you to actually know that she said this and that thing happened to happen means you've already gone in too deep into this satanic behavior. Get out of it right now. Do not listen to these people at all. All right. Wow. Wa alaikum salam. What does it mean to be? What does it mean to be a man as per Islamic standards? What are the consequences of not having real men in our society? Well, I mean, what does it mean to be a man? You look at the life of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam and the Sahaba. They exemplified manhood in the ultimate sense. Man should be reliable. A man is qawwam. A man is in charge, in authority over his family. الرجل راع في بيته ومسؤول عن رعيته. He is the one in charge, the shepherd of his family, and he will be asked about them. He is responsible in the society. He's responsible in terms of being physically ready in case ever Allah Azza wa Jal decrees that we have to fight for the sake of Allah under the leadership of the Muslim ruler. As per legislated in Islam, the Muslim man should be strong and ready and skilled. A Muslim man is a man that people depend on after Allah Azza wa Jal. He's reliable, he's strong, he's intelligent, he learns his religion, he practices his religion. And not having men in the society results in the youthness and women taking charge and feminism spreading. Now, we're going to stop at 155, guys, okay? Inshallah. If I don't get a particular dream of mine interpreted, would the result of the interpretation not happen? No. Whether you get it interpreted or not is irrelevant. If Allah had decreed for it to take place, it will take place. Hope your day goes well. Jazakallah khair. When a brother goes to pray and joins the Imam in 4th rak'ah, how should he continue the prayer? It will be his first rak'ah. The 4th rak'ah he catches with the Imam will be his first rak'ah if he catches the Imam during ruku' or before ruku'. So if you catch the Imam anytime before ruku' all the way until ruku', it counts that you have caught the rak'ah, and therefore that 4th rak'ah of the Imam will be your first. If you join the Imam in the julus al-tashahhud, he's already gone up from ruku', he's in sujood, you caught him in the sujood of the 4th rak'ah, you still have to pray 4 rak'at when you're done, because you did not catch the rak'ah. So you start with 0 and you have 4 to go. Now, wa alaikum salam. I help a lot, especially my wife, her parents and family with all the means, and do it only for the sake of Allah. But when I say something about the sunnah, I see a lot of hesitation. What can I do except trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow the character of Prophet sallallahu so that my wife also loves the sunnah more and applies? You already answered the question. What else can you do? Nothing. Exactly what you said. 2 more minutes. Ameen ya Rab. What should our stance be regarding the death of these Hamas leaders? Is it possible for them to be martyrs? Wallahi, ya akhi, yani honestly, I'm worried about speaking about the matter. Generally speaking, Hamas, which is not a Muslim ruler, it's not a ruling entity, in spite of what people try to deceive you into telling you that they had elections and they got the majority vote, and therefore Hamas somehow is the ruler of Gaza. Palestine is an entity, one entity that has one president and one ruling party, which is Fatah and Mahmoud Abbas. And Hamas is an entity that was established by, ironically, the enemies of Islam, and they supplied them with weapons for a particular agenda, for the expansionist agenda of the greater Israel. And Hamas, unfortunately, were used as a tool to create conflict, first to oppose the ruling party of Palestine, and also to be the excuse for them to expand. Okay, that's my position on Hamas. Accordingly, we find that all of their leaders, they've made some really problematic statements. Whether the founder of Hamas saying that his issue with the Jews is not about religion, he loves the Jews, it's about land, he just wants his land back. You know, he's like, we love the Jews, we love the Yahud, which is really against the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Or their current leadership praising Bashar al-Assad, praising the Iranian regime, praising Hezbollah and Nasrullah, praising the Houthis, literally all the enemies of Allah, all the enemies of Islam and the enemies of Allah are their close friends and their close allies. Supposedly because everyone else abandoned them. So I have a major conflict with Hamas, all right? And all of their leaderships, including the most recent one, Sinwar, I believe, who was supposedly assassinated, I have problems with all of them because all of them made statements that are problematic. However, I cannot speak based on information I get from Twitter and X and the news. Did he die in the battlefield? Was he defending? Was he doing it for the sake of Allah? Was he to do it for the land? Was he doing it for Iran? I don't know. So the best thing to do is to be safe. If he died for the sake of Allah, it's between him and Allah, and we hope Allah will forgive whatever disasters he had brought upon the Muslims in Gaza, because Hamas have brought the worst kind of disasters upon the Muslims in Gaza. It's the Jews who are doing the crime, but they are the catalysts and the facilitators and the justification for them. So it's best that you just take a neutral position. I'm afraid to say anything about him. He already died. According to them, according to the news, he died. So it's between him and Allah. Why would I, he's not like Hassan Nasrullah. That was a criminal. That was a flat out Shi'i. Ithna Ashari. He was a criminal. That's done. But this guy is supposed to be a Sunni. I don't have the courage to speak about someone who passed away in a certain way. And what if Allah had accepted him as a martyr? What if? Who am I to have any input or opinion about it? I'm too scared to say that. At the same time, I cannot deceive the Muslims and say, oh, mashallah, they're great. All these are warriors and they did it fi sabilillah and they're all martyrs. I don't know. Their agenda, their politics, their behavior contradict the Quran and the Sunnah in every way. So you can always have a neutral position, say, Allahu A'lam, it's his affairs with Allah, Wallah al-Musta'an. All right, now I gotta go, guys. It's 1:57. All right, bi'idhnillah. Sorry about that, ikhwan and akhawat. Wallahi, it's unfortunate, but I have to go. I have some commitment. If you have questions that we did not get the chance to answer, please come back tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, for the Arba'in Nawawiyya class. And then, inshallah, we'll have more time to respond to your questions. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.